This is the Aljon 580, every scrapyard stream capable of crushing, mangling, and cubing 25 cars per hour, every hour. And this is me crashing my drone.
Okay, so why am I talking about a baler? I thought this was a story about how I got ripped off. Well, it actually is. And it has to do with a baler. So that's why I'm talking about a baler. This is Ron. I know, it's blacked out. What I actually was thinking about doing when I made this video, or I was planning this video originally, I was gonna show a picture of Ron. I was gonna post his full name, and I thought this would be great because other people would know what a sorry individual he is. But then I thought, you know, I guess the guy could sue me or something. Even though everything I'm gonna say in this video is true, I didn't want to disparage the guy, even though I was very upset when this all happened. So anyway, back to the story. So I wanted one of these balers. These balers are like every scrapyard's dream. They're very important so you can make weight. If you're trying to send loads out to the steel mill and it's not baled or condensed, you're gonna get maybe 20,000 pounds on that truck. If you bale it and send it out, you're gonna get 40 to 45,000 pounds on that truck. So it basically cuts your hauling in half. On top of that, you can bale aluminum, you can bale stainless steel, you can bale a lot of different things and condense those weights down too. So it's a super useful piece of equipment, and I really wanted one. Brand new, these things are about $700,000. Used, you're looking at $200,000, $300,000. I found this guy Ron on a website where a bunch of different equipment brokers post listings for equipment that they have for sale. Ron had a bunch of listings, and he appeared to be a very reputable person that sold a lot of equipment. I found this particular baler and I really liked it, and it was $100,000, which was a really good deal. Unfortunately for me, and because I'm super lazy, I didn't go look at the baler because it was in another state. I think if I'm remembering correctly, the baler was in Tennessee, and I didn't want to fly out and look at it. Through my experience, 20 some odd years of buying equipment, a lot of times I buy equipment without actually going to look at it because I'm buying them from reputable sources. In this case, maybe I dropped the ball, but I wired him $100,000 for the machine. The machine was supposed to be ready for immediate delivery. They were gonna line up a truck and it was gonna come my way. So after a few days, and I hadn't got an exact date for shipping, I started to kind of worry, and I started checking every day to see, okay, have we found a truck? Have we found a truck? After 3 weeks, I was really worried, and I started asking every day, sometimes multiple times a day, what is going on? First, I was told Well, they needed to replace a hose on the machine, and so they're doing that, and then it'll be ready to ship, which is not okay because I was told that this machine was in working condition and ready to go when I bought it. Then I was told, well, they need to register the trailer so that it's roadworthy, because these actual trailers, you just pull the whole unit down the road. And that's kind of made sense, but not really. But after, probably 4 or 5 weeks of excuses, I really gave the guy a hard time, and he finally came clean. And he said, listen, this is what happened. I had the machine for sale knowing it needed some repairs, some major repairs. The plan was, when I got paid for the machine, I was going to do the repairs quickly and then send the machine out, and nobody ever really knew, right? This was not okay. I told him that I thought he completely misrepresented the product. The machine was supposed to be ready to go, in good working condition. In fact, it was supposed to be working at a scrapyard when I bought it, and they were just gonna pull it to my scrapyard. So I felt like he had completely misrepresented the product, and I said, listen, just send me my money back. This is where it started to become a problem, because he refused to send me my money back. And the reason he said he could not repair the thing and send it out is because the parts were on back order, and so it could be 6, 7, 8 months before he actually got them. So we had a situation where he couldn't deliver the product, and he also refused to give me my money back. At first, he said that the person that actually owned the machine was refusing to send the money back, because you have to remember, he's a broker and he's representing a machine that's usually owned by somebody else. But as more time went on, I found out that he actually owned the machine. So it started to get pretty hairy pretty quick, and I started to realize I was not going to get my money back. I started calling Ron multiple times a day, asking for my money back, asking for a refund. And I was constantly told that he didn't have the money. He claimed that once I paid him, he actually bought a different baler with a large portion of the money, and that he just didn't have it. I asked him to start sending some of it back, to just make an effort to do anything to start sending my money back to me. And every time he refused. After I started to recognize that like something was really wrong here, I Googled his name. And what I found was kind of incredible. He had actually done this multiple times before, and he would create a company, put listings out, he would sell a piece of equipment, and then he would never deliver the equipment. And what happens in these instances is you hire an attorney, and they're trying to collect either the product or your money, and you sue them, and you don't actually get anything but a judgment. And what the judgment means is that they can't borrow money or do different things until this judgment is cleared up. However, what Ron was doing is then he would just dissolve the company, and he would create a new company and do the same thing again. And you have to think, if you're doing a couple of $100,000 every time you do this, like you could drag this out for quite a long time. I was completely sick. I didn't know what I was gonna do. It looked like I was getting ripped off. I was reading actual court documents that I found on the internet where this guy had done this multiple times before. So I knew that this was not just like a bad situation where the guy overextended himself. Like, this was his plan. I called my attorney, I talked to my attorney. We had a couple of meetings about it, and his opinion was, if you sue this guy, you're just gonna get a judgment. You're not gonna get anything. And you're gonna spend a bunch of money to do it. So really what you need to do is just keep trying to bother this guy and just hope that he pays you back. So that's what I did. I just kept calling him to the point that he blocked my number. That's what kind of guy this is. He owes me $100,000. He's not delivering the machine. He won't give me back my money, and he blocks my number. So I didn't really know what to do. And I was to the point where I hadn't given up, but short of me driving to his house and physically harming this individual, I didn't see any way that I was going to get my money back. However, a few days later, I got a call from my attorney, and he said he had an interesting idea. And he said, listen, when you have somebody that owes you money, you sue them. If they can't pay, you get a judgment, whatever. This is more like a commercial case or a civil case, right? He said, but in your case, he's not giving you the money back, but he's also not delivering the product. So this is technically fraud, and this is technically a criminal case, not like a civil case or not like a commercial company filing on another commercial company. And he said, if I was you, I would contact the sheriff in the county that this happened in, that this person operates in, and I would talk to them about it. And so that's what I did. I called the sheriff in that county. I explained what happened. They said that they would send me a form and I would fill it out, and then they would absolutely pursue criminal charges on him because he had represented that he had a product, taken my money, and then never delivered the product, which is fraud. So, out of a last-ditch attempt, and you have to remember, I have called this guy a million times, and every time I talk to him, he doesn't have the money. He just doesn't, there's just no way I could get the money. He claimed he was going to sell some different machines, and as soon as he sold those, maybe he would make partial payments, whatever. He's stringing me along for a very long time. And so in a last-ditch attempt, I called from a different number, and I got his voicemail, and I left him a voicemail, and I said, Ron, I talked to the sheriff today, and what you did is fraud, and I'm going to pursue criminal charges against you. I'm gonna give you 24 hours to respond to me and send me my money, or I'm going to file on you criminally. Interestingly enough, I got a wire transfer the next day for the full amount that he owed me. So after 3 months of messing with this guy and him saying he didn't have the money and all this stuff, he actually did have the money. He just was not gonna pay me. He was going to take my money. So after all this was done, I actually called the website that he listed equipment on. I told him what happened. They banned him from the website. I did not pursue any charges against him or do anything like that because at that point I had gotten my money back, and it was just a bad situation. I learned a pretty good lesson about maybe vetting the people that you're buying things from. But like I said, for 22 years I've been buying equipment, and half the time I never looked at the actual piece of equipment. I might send a mechanic out, or I might vet the broker to make sure, or get a guarantee from the broker or something like that. But there's tremendous amount of times that I bought stuff and I never ever looked at it, right? And anyway, I got my money back, crisis averted. And actually, I'm gonna put a picture up right here, a video. This is the actual baler. Once I got my money back, this is the actual baler that I bought as a replacement. And the baler that you saw in the beginning of the video is actually the baler that I recently bought at my second yard. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe if you're interested in this type of content. See you next time.